AITA, I moved for my husband's job. My kids now hate me. Bit long. Stick with me. Throw away because I'm active on I'm on board. And haven't discussed this there. My ex and I split 5 years ago now. We had a daughter who is 16. A son who is 13 and a daughter who is 5. He's always been a good dad. And we split 50/50 custody. Essentially the kids 1 week my house / 1 week his house. After my divorce, I reconnected with a high school boyfriend and fell head over heels in love again. He's in the military but hadn't had to move in years. We married 2 years ago. A year ago, he got orders to move to Texas from where we all were in California. My older 2 kids were not happy at all and didn't want to move, while the baby didn't really express a preference. I approached my ex and told him the situation. I said I know the situation sucks, but we'd foot the bill to him for every trip to him on holidays, breaks, summers, etc. He blew his top and said absolutely not. I wouldn't take his kids away and said he'd see me in court. The judge ended up ruling in his favor, and I was awarded summers and every other holiday. I was absolutely devastated. I moved, and I've barely seen the kids since. They came at Christmas for a week, and it was tense the whole time. The older kids, especially my daughter, are short with me on FaceTime, while the baby gets distracted and can't chat much. My daughter has said I chose a man over her, and that she wants nothing to do with me, while my son won't talk about it, but I can tell he's angry. I've asked my ex to talk to them about it, and he basically said I chose to leave. It's my fault and he's not getting involved in our issues. So, let me have it Reddit. AITA? AITA. You're a parent and you failed to consider what your relationship choices would do to your family. Your ex didn't deserve to lose custody because of your choices. Of course, marrying a guy in the military comes with a high chance of relocation. WTF did you think would happen? You chose yourself over your kids. Definitely this. She had to know full well that she'd eventually have to move if she became a military wife. And it wouldn't be her only move either. My dad was in the army and we moved to a new city every 2 years or so. Growing up that way, we were used to it. But it is absolutely shitty of her to expect to bring 2 teenagers along who've lived in one place most of their lives. They can't suddenly adapt to a nomadic lifestyle. And they clearly didn't want to. Being with their dad is the best thing for them. Kinda selfish. And yes, AITA, you didn't ask your kids' opinion about moving. They're old enough to have that conversation. You instead decided on your own for what you wanted, and when told no fought to have you weigh in court and lost. I'd say rightfully. You didn't ask your ex's opinion. They're his kids too. You just announced something based on what you and your husband wanted. The kids are rightfully pissed because they feel their mother abandoned them without any consideration. Yeah, you're an asshole in this. From the post where she said she was willing to pay for the kids to come back to visit the dad, she was assuming that she was just going to take the kids. That's the truly AITA part for me. The fuck you're going to take the kids put of state just because you decided to move? AITA. Sounds like you didn't even ask the kids about a compromise. It was either him or the kids and you chose him. From your post, it really does sound like you got the butterflies in your tummy and was well worth losing custody over your kids for. I would feel abandoned too if I were them. Well, boiled down, you left the kids for a man. It was your choice. And you knew how it could turn out. I'd say yes. AITA, was there any way you could stay with the kids? Was this even explored? Sure there was. She cold gone long distance with her husband. But nope. She chose to go long distance with her kids instead. AITA here for a few reasons. 1. It sounds like you told your ex you were moving and wanted to take the kids instead of having a discussion with him about the move and how that would function. Assuming that he's an involved dad and the reason for your divorce wasn't abuse, you absolutely should have spoken to him first. 2. Did you consider doing the long distance thing with your husband? It's a hell of a lot easier for you to fly down a few times a month than forcing your kids away from their dad. 3. At the end of the day, you chose the needs of your husband over the needs of your children. Knowing that relocating the kids away from their dad would be incredibly hard for them, and that their dad is an active and loving parent. AITA here. And I can understand why the kids are upset. AITA when you divorced and got joint custody. I'm sure part of it stipulated that you wouldn't be able to take your kids and move them away from your husband without his permission. So I'm not at all surprised he won custody. And sorry. He is right. You are the one who chose to move so far from them. AITA. Why is take his kids away in scare quotes like that wasn't exactly what you were doing. Good for your ex-husband for fighting for his kids. It was insane of you to think he'd just let you move them across the country. And now she kind of whines that it is hard to not have them live with her. Exactly what she expected her ex just to accept. AITA I don't know why in the world you thought you could or should just take your kids away from their father because you decide to marry a military guy. Actions have consequences. Your daughter is right. You made a choice, and it wasn't your children. You should really be ashamed of yourself. And the way she told her ex the situation and expected him to just deal with it, but now it has flipped on her. She is heartbroken. The selfishness is actually annoying. Poor kids. Imagine feeling like your mom abandoned you for a man. AITA. I'm a divorced mom of 3 with week on week off. I totally get how hard it is to balance your new life with the other responsibilities of kids and co-parenting. But the kids have to come first. It's a sucky situation, but when presented with the choice of being long distance from your kids or from your husband, you should have chosen the long distance relationship with your husband. Your kids are dealing with abandonment issues and get to be upset and hurt. Whether or not you feel like it, you'd choose your new husband over them. I don't see how your ex is tough for not wanting to be long distance from his kids. AITA. You are an asshole for just assuming that the kids would come with you. Away from their roots and their family. Because you wanted it. With no discussion beforehand. You just went up to him and point blank said I'm moving. The kids are coming with me. We may send them to see you on our dime cause we're just so kind and considerate. Not considerate enough to have a discussion with him and try to work out a deal or details. Of course. Only considerate enough to tell him what's happening. Whether he likes it or not. Which would have avoided the legal order. And would have probably avoided a lot of bullshit with your kids and ex. If you could have been an adult and actually approached your ex like an equal who has equal say in your kid's life. And had a discussion. As it stands right now. Everyone has every right to be pissed off at your arrogant, selfish, self-righteous behavior. I enjoyed that you spelled out the acronym of AITA and then immediately hammered it home with you are an asshole. I'm a bad mom AITA lol. She said she's active on a mom board here and I'm wondering why. She essentially gave up being a mom to follow her husband. AITA. Why would you assume the kids would leave with you? Split custody and the convo with your ex was they are coming with me and I'll send them to visit sometime and I'll pay for it. Who gave you that right? Also you put take my kids away from me in quotes like they aren't his kids too. So everyone other than you wanted to stay in Cali and you just go and tell them that tough luck they are leaving regardless and they aren't as much the dads as they are yours. Your kids say no and you decide to take the family to court to force their hand. When you lose you abandon your kids for your husband's career. He could have left the army and pursued other work. You could have done long distance for a while until he could leave. But no you left your kids. I would never leave mine under any circumstance, but it's your choice. You have to live with the consequences of your choices. Like you used to teach your kids. And that means you will be rightfully seen as an asshole. Good luck fixing this. Well her husband can't just leave the military. He would just not have to re-enlist when his time was up, if that was his choice. Regardless. I agree with you, she's 100% tar. I'd rather set myself on fire than be away from my child for one damn day. AITA. You left your 5-year-old behind. It's bad enough to leave kids who are old enough to understand. But 5 is practically still a baby. At best you chose a man over your children. At worst you tried to take them from their father. You deserve all their anger. My kids are 5, and I feel so fucking bad for Ops kids, and in particular her youngest. 5 is barely out of the toddlerhood stage. Her 5-year-old is going to start kindergarten and her mother won't be there. I know there are worse situations for kids and the father here sounds like he has his kids' best interests in mind, unlike Opus. But I can't imagine what kind of detached relationship Op must have had with her kids to be okay with abandoning them in this way. AITA 1000%. How the judge ruling devastatingly against you. The mother, in favor of the father, did not clue you in is a mystery to me. Your ex is right. You chose to leave. Your children were asked to adjust to a major lifestyle change in which mom and dad don't live together anymore. And then you have the gall to ask them to uproot all the stable things in their life they have left. I believe there is a law in place that the moving parent surrenders their rights to the children. So you got exactly what you were gonna give your ex. And you're sad about it? AITA. Hey, now she offered to pay for the ex, that totally makes it okay/s. AITA. My daughter has said I chose a man over her. Do you know why she said that? Because you literally did. You chose to move away from your children to be closer to a man. You are the one that put the distance between you and your children. You made your choice. And now you're experiencing the consequences. It will only get worse. The longer you're away from them, the more they'll resent you, and the more comfortable they'll become without you in their lives. Your youngest one won't even know who the hell you are. The only way you can fix this is to move back and try your best to make it up to them, while giving them enough time and space to forgive you. But you won't do any of that. So your relationship with your kids is going to be destroyed. Better prepare yourself for the reality of not getting invited to your kids' weddings, not being a grandma to their kids, and not being a part of their lives once they are adults. Because that's where you're headed. I hope that dude's worth it. This needs more upvotes. Y'all, this is so close to judgment time. Please don't make me lock this thread. Be chill and stop breaking rule 1. If you enjoyed this video, then hit the like button and subscribe if you'd like to see more future videos.